What's up, YouTube? And welcome to Citizen Sleeper. Today I'm going to do a little bit of voice acting for you. Hope you guys enjoy. The class I decided to run today, guys, is going to be Machinist. Machinist repairs and modifies automated systems used in industrial resource extraction. Sleepers assigned to a machinist's work are usually diligent, careful, and structured people. The first thing you become aware of on waking is the disconnect. The delay between thinking and feeling. Between wanting to act and acting. Minor. Almost imperceptible, but always present. It's at its worst when waking, when yourself has spent many dark hours recalling what it felt like to be real, to be a person, to be in a body that was indisputably yours. Think of that body. A leap into a cold lake on a hot day, the sting of blood welling from a fresh wound, the friction of a fingertip. All of a sudden, the memories are closer than you thought, blurring as you approach, until you can't tell one from the other. The cold sleeps in, behind and around you, and the sensations fade out of reach. Perhaps you should be thankful for the dull nature of this new body, given your current circumstances. The walls of the container feel immediately present, cold, hard, at your back and face, cramping your limbs. You resist the desire to stretch, knowing that the claustrophobia comes next, and retreat a little from your central nervous system. It isn't painful, not like you used to know pain, at least. In emergency mode, pain is a message, delivered with efficiency and ease, a reminder that harm is imminent. There is no insistent throb, no trembling nerves, just a warning, delivered with the banal quality of a digital notification. Right now, there are thousands of them. Remember the others. You remember there were 10 of you. 10 that could no longer stand the indentured work, the routines, the slow decay. 10 whose belief in their promised future was slowly dismantled, day by day, until they realized they had sold away everything that could and would ever matter. 10 that would escape, or at least die trying. Some were lost in the shaft. Others never found the meeting point. Only a few made it to the containers. But the freighter, as far as you know, left. That feels like enough. Enough to know that you might no longer be on that grim and heartless rock. Even if, in the airless hold of a freighter, you might freeze solid long before you reached any destination. Wait for the cold. That's all there is now. It has been a long time since you left. Surely weeks, maybe months. You are dully aware of damage to your legs, your right arm. You have been reserving energy as much as possible, but your body has still needed to shut down many of its systems to protect you. You've spent much of that time asleep, knowing that anything else would be impossible to endure. You feel the weight of that impossibility begin to gather. It is time to sleep again, to nudge this false body into inducing delta waves in your emulated mind, and once again recoil into a dream of when you were once a person. Rest. Time passes. The cold creeps further in. You feel something. Warmth. Not true warmth, but the indication of its presence. Your joints release from their rigor. Sound, too. Everywhere, screeching and shimmering so loud that your body ducks your hearing to protect its sensors. Then, light. White as the cold, softer and softer, until, in a haze of dirty yellow, a figure appears. You are out. Dragos, Pragmatic Salvager. It has been a few hours since Dragos pulled you from the container. You sit huddled in a corner of his scrapyard, swaddled in the reflective folds of a mylar blanket. You are slowly coming back to consciousness, back to life, and you stare at the ornately curving element of an improvised heater. You are surrounded by angular, incoherent lumps of shit, some corroded beyond recognition, others still carrying glassy wounds along their edges where a plasma arc sliced them apart. As you trace their shapes with fogged eyes, you hear a voice. "So, sleeper, you all thawed out yet?" "Almost. Never seen one of you come in like this. New frames must have better preservance in sub-zero vac. Seen more than a few of you frozen solid to whole plates or inside outer locks in my time. They weren't so lucky. Dragos comes into focus, shrouded in makeshift tech, his headset with its glinting eyes, the mark of a drone operator. On his shoulder, one of his symbiotically linked drones perches, its arising eye locking you with an unflinching stare. Last living sleeper that came through this yard was a while ago. They didn't last long. You struggle to read his expression beneath the tech, but he seems lost in memory for a moment. Or perhaps he is just figuring out what to do with you. I plan to survive. You aren't sure if he hears you. I won't ask what led you to do it, to sell yourself to corporation. I suppose you know you can't go back. Your old body, that's theirs now, and you're just software. A rogue emulation illegally possessing corporate property. You nod along. You remember biometrically signing the forms, the cold floor on your feet as you padded to the sleeper cells, the promise of a life-off world. But as you do, you get the now familiar sensation that these aren't your memories. These are things you know, but not things you feel. You are no longer that person. You are an offshoot, a copy. What you won't know is what's ahead. At least the last one didn't. There's no easy way to put it. That body of yours is falling apart. It's the same for any sleeper who makes it out. S&R wants to protect their property. But if they can't keep a hold of you, well then no one can. You remember that too. Or at least rumors of it. From the other sleepers. Plan obsolescence. A built-in dependence on the regularly administered supplements that were a part of your routine. Stop taking them, and your body begins to shut down. Separate from your emulated mind? How long has it been? How long do you have? But for now, sleeper, you are one of the lucky ones. Dragos glances up and away, towards the glassy dome of the yard. The Eye is the best place you could be right now. The Eye? The station. You'll see soon enough. Dragos impatiently shifts his weight. Look, I've got things to be getting on with. He trails off. There's an old freight container I've been using as storage out in the stacks. We haven't been pulling in much valuable scrap these days, so you're welcome to it. Something wells up inside you. Emotion. Fatigue. You shakily get to your feet. Nod. Alright, you head on up there. You look like you need some rest. And with that, Drago stalks back into the Rex. His drone's already converging on a rusting hulk. Plasma flashes silhouetting his spindly figure as he returns to work. You wake up, curled up in the corner of the container, and begin slowly assembling the world around you. After all this time, you still find this body, the one you wake in now, strange and disjointed. Its message is readable, but somehow wrong. You sit up, pulling the mylar blanket close against the cold. Here you are, on this ruined station, millions of miles from anyone you know. Are you still in the system? Did any of the others make it out? It's impossible to know. After all this, what matters? Building a life. Maybe you did get lucky, finding yourself here. Maybe here, on the edge of everything, there's a life for you to build. But before you can build anything, you'll need to learn to survive. Maybe if you can do that, you can make a life for yourself. Dragos has left a few comforts in the container. The mylar blanket, the bedroll you slept on, a canister of water, a makeshift electric stove, and some faded sachets of some desiccated powder. You thumb the power stud of the stove and begin to boil the water. The contents of the sachets smell like damp wood, and you sprinkle them into the liquid. As the pungent smell washes over you, images from your restless sleep come back to you. A ring, like the station, but skeletal and ghostly. A web of threads pulling at your skin, a constellation of bright, polygonal shapes, like angular suns burning into your mind. There's something unpleasantly visceral about these images, and it's long after you finish drinking before they begin to fade. You tidy away the stove as best you can and try to gather enough energy to greet the day. Alright guys, so here are the basics. So every day in the Eye, we're going to have our condition, which is our general health of our body. We're going to be able to use action dice to be deal actions, which can be like jobs, or talking to people, or getting information. And we're going to have energy, so every day we have to sleep. what I'm going to do for you guys is I'm just going to show you guys segments where my choices matter and where I'm talking to people. The jobs and stuff, I'll show you a little bit if anything important pops up. Dragos is standing in the corridor when you close up the container. He's still wearing his headset, and in the harsh light of the corridor, you realize it is implanted. A drone sits on his shoulder, its cache of sensor eyes rapidly arising. How are you feeling? Okay. The drone chirps. Good to hear. You notice that beneath the operator's rig, his skin is marked by burns and blotches. I know the container isn't much, but it'll keep you safe. He pauses. So I'm not going to chit-chat too long. You well enough to work? Sure. Alright then. He nods. At the yard, it's simple stuff. We hack these old holes down, sell them off to the shipyards or the bright market dealers for cryo. Occasionally we pull out some tech, something with a bit more value. But most of what comes in is scrap. It's hard to find good hands here, but I figure as a sleeper, you'll be used to the manual labor. And obviously, I'll sip you a few chits of commission based on what you turn up. Got it. He shuffles his feet nervously. Look, I wouldn't usually do this. In my opinion, you'd be best suited moving on as quick as you can. In sleepers, well, he trails off. But things being the way that they are for me at the yard, he pauses. I need the help. Happy to. Okay. He pauses, thinking of something else to add. Look, just come down to the yard when you're feeling fresher. There's plenty to do. Will do. He nods distractedly and turns and walks away, the drone hopping along ahead of him. See you later, he calls back. Looks like it's time to get to work. This time, you don't wake up. Instead, the ghost of the station, that shifting, skeletal ring, surrounds you. For a moment, you are gone, absent from your own body, stretched out across a colorless void. Then, the connections begin to establish themselves. Threads, tugging on the edge of your mind. These threads become vectors of exchange, and then extensions. As you feel your thoughts slipping away down them, dissolving into the millions of distributed nodes they connect to you. You see the station. No, you feel the station. Like a web of texture in a smooth black liquid. Observe it. Even though you have no eyes, no sight, you see, feel the map of the station. No, not the map of the station, but the map of its connections. It is a looped cloud with spokes and spires that jut out into space. It is an ingrown thing full of obsolete loops and severed pathways. It is a system, a map, and a territory, all at once. You notice a tugging feeling, pulling at you, insistently, as if it were a small child. Somehow, it is pulling you in two directions at once. You look down. All of a sudden, everything shuts off. You come back trembling into this unfamiliar body. Both yours and not yours, all at once. You find yourself standing in the container, eyes now open to the dark steel walls. You feel a change within you, a shift. You close your eyes for a second, and you feel it waiting there. The station splayed out across your mind, a storm of connective nodes, waiting to be explored. And then, it is gone. You arrive into a buzz of activity at the yard. Red blinking lights flash across a vast dark shape, suspended below the dome. They flicker across scorched hull plates and bent structures, spilling from holes in this twisted shape. The cutter is huge and has been torn apart in some violent encounter. She's a beauty, isn't she? Drago stands to the side, focused on the hulking ship as it is lowered into the yard. What is it? Dragos laughs. That, my friend, is A-grade scrap. I should thank you. This place was on its last legs when you turned up. And now look at this. The ship descends slowly, its interior visible through multiple hull reaches. You struggle to gather the same enthusiasm and Dragos for this monstrous craft. You can't help but think of what became of its crew. What happened? What do you mean? He glances at you. I managed to convince our salvager friends to give it to me on credit. That's what happened. No, what happened to the ship? Not my concern, he shrugs. The ship creaks like a calving iceberg as it reaches the base of the yard. Dragos is visibly excited. I know I said you shouldn't stick around, but I'm gonna need some help with this one. The drones start to crawl over the hulk, their lights illuminating flashes of dented hull. Watching, you wonder if you arrived in a similar fashion, locked inside that container, the wreck of the Espen Arp freighter lowered into the yard like a corpse ready to be butchered. Or was it the container delivered to Dragos on its own? A womb for your rebirth into the strange station. You shudder. Perhaps if you could learn something about the ship, you might be able to trace the path that led you to this yard. Dragos squeezed your shoulder. After these past cycles, I think we're up to it. What do you think? You see the fading name of the ship emblazoned on its side, Winter Light. Let's do this. He claps you on the back. Glad to hear. Come back in a few and we can make a start. A real beauty, Dragos repeats, perhaps just to himself. You take one last look at the shattered ship as the drones start cutting, and then slip out of the yard, feeling suddenly cold in the empty passage. Again, the skeletal ring of the station fills your mind. It sparkles with glittering lights, like stars reflected in a winter lake. It is clearer, crispier than before. Threads still pull, but you remain in place, flickering in the flow. Between the threads, you see bright shapes, caches of shimmering light beneath transparent crystal forms. You follow the path of a thread across the ring. Through these forms, then leap off into the void. You begin to understand. These are nodes and connections, a map of information, of communication. There are so many layers, so many loops that it seems almost impossible to parse. But you begin to try. Focus on the threads. There are more threads than you can count. You chose one that passes nearby and approach it. As you inspect it, you understand why you instinctively chose the word thread when you first saw it. They are not single lines, but rough, fuzzy things woven from data strings of all kinds. The threads and nodes, passages and puzzle boxes. One leads to another. There's so much here. So many answers. So many questions. All you need to do is follow the paths and open the boxes. You look out across this ghost landscape of exchange and see an opportunity. But then, the insistent tugging again, pulling at you. You look down again and see two lines. Two threads pulling in different directions, as if they were tied around you. The first thread leads out, away from the station, into the inky black. Someone out there is tracking you, hunting you, following the thread to you. They are in a ship, and the ship is approaching ever closer with each cycle. The second thread leads in, pulling deep into the station. Your gaze follows it, and this time, you see something. A sphere, shimmering above a strange, angular body. A pulse shoots out from it, passing over you like a torch beam, testing you, tasting you. You open your eyes. Time is short. Emphis is busy, his broad face uplit by the makeshift gas burner in front of him. With precise, delicate movements, he lays thick chunks of marinated fungus into a dented wok, his other hand idly tossing a metal bowl of sliced vegetables in some red flaked dressing. The smell is incredible. You watch as he fulfills a set of orders, heaping the fungus with the bright salad and depositing it in plastic trays. A stack of shits rattles in his apron pockets as customers file past the burner, handing over payment. Watch. Despite the queue, Emphis doesn't rush. He dresses each portion individually, squeezing precise slugs of liquid from an assortment of bottles into the bowl of torn leaves and bright slices before tossing them loosely together. Occasionally, a waiting customer might mutter something about efficiency, but Emphis remains steady in his process. After a while, the queue fades back into the crowd, and Emphis sits down in his metal bowl and looks up across the burner to see you, watching him. I can feel your eyes burning a hole in my bowl. Free sample? Nod. He gestures neatly. Come over. The smell is almost unbearably strong as he cooks. The earthiness of the fungus laced with something so spicy the smoke makes your eyes water. The heat from the burner is like a bonfire, and your skin hardens in its glare. I know you sleepers, Memphis says while he cooks, his voice deep but clear. A hard life, a lot of stories. He glances up from beneath his cap with piercing eyes. I know. Tell him a story. You begin to tell him about your journey to the eye, and he nods as he cooks, his eyes never leaving his work. You tell him of the confusion, the pain, but also the sense of possibility in its sudden arrival. You tell him of the cold and dark of the container, and the endless cycles spent within it. Now it seems, you tell him, like some dream that you once had but can never forget. You tell him that the eye excites you and scares you. You are unsure where to walk, where to look, what to do. Eventually, you tail off, running out of words. He places a plastic tray of steaming fungus in your hand. Next time, we can talk some more, he smiles. But next time, you pay. He slams a heavy hand against a button on the burner side and it shuts off. The roar of the flame and its impressive heat fades. Next time, then, sleeper. He waves you away and begins to oil the woke. Before you turn back to the alley, you notice the geometric patterns of circular scars across his forearms, each surrounded with a constellation of glinting pin marks. You walk away, and as you do, you take a bite of the rich, spicy, delicately sweet fungus. Your taste sensors light up like a fusion reactor. You'll be back. Alright, YouTube. That is where we're going to end today's session. I hope you guys are enjoying. Go ahead and drop some comments, drop a like, and make sure to follow. I'll catch you all next time.